hoy me encuentro con una, I was gonna say old friend, old girl, vieja amiga, de verdad que de la que aprendí muchísimo cuando realmente estaba comenzando y me mentoreó mucho en la parte de short sale y es algo que queremos hablar en el día de hoy. Queremos comunicar a todas esas personas que están pasando apuro o están viendo una posibilidad o han tenido problemas con sus préstamos de ver otra salida que probablemente no han visto. Y hoy vamos a tenerla a ella, no habla español muy bien, entonces vamos a hacer esto prácticamente en inglés. Así que no, Nicole, welcome to our podcast. We want to talk to you today about short sale. I was telling the people that you were my mentor, like back then when I started, that I learned how to make money doing short sale through you. You teach me a lot of that, and I learned a lot of real estate about doing that thing. It took a lot of work,
yeah,
a lot of go back and forth with the banks. I remember that, I was tired because I said 2 hours waiting. You remember 2 hours waiting on the phone to talk to somebody.
the paper.
Shit. So what's the difference now between the short sale back then and now? I haven't seen foreclosure hitting that much in the or short sale in the MLS yet. Do you think that they are coming?
Yes, we're seeing them trickle in little by little. We're finding that a lot of new agents are getting them for various reasons. The process is much more streamlined, more technology-based, where back then we used to fax in 40 sheets of paper, wait on the hold for 2 hours. Now, a lot of it's through a computer system. So you can read the notes, you can talk to the negotiator, you can upload in the computer. So it's a lot faster for them to come out to the house, do the inspections, do the appraisals. Average, they're taking 60 to 90 days versus an entire year.
Have you seen some short sale hitting the MLS right now?
We actually had one last year in, I believe it was Oviedo. There's a few that have been on the market. A lot of them are in reference to people refinancing, getting a second mortgage or a home equity line of credit. And now because the market is a little bit lower, the value is not there anymore.
But it was for people that bought what year?
COVID 2020, where price, no one cared. They were paying over asking without even doing appraisals and checking. Those houses are dipping in value now.
Even though the rates were too low.
Yeah, the payment's great, but now you're upside down with your payment. Maybe you lost your job. A lot of people that had jobs in COVID don't have those same jobs now. A lot of the people that bought in COVID were nurses. They were getting paid a lot of money to travel to other states to make big money. They came here and they bought houses. They paid an exorbitant amount for them, but they don't have those jobs anymore because the need isn't there. They're not working in COVID anymore.
So the problem is not that, is lack of job.
That can be one of the problems, yes.
Because I don't imagine, and that's what I see, and that's what the market. I think that's what the market, today's market is no worse, because we haven't seen those inventory hitting the MLS.
Not yet.
And it's not gonna come until the rates go down. But I see people with 2 or 3%. So how they not gonna sell they don't want to sell the house, because they sell the house, they're gonna buy another house. They're gonna go 5, 6, 7%.
7%, 6%. And then a lot of them, they bought additional homes, Airbnbs for investment that they purchased because the rate was lower. The payment was lower, and they felt like they could make that money back with short-term rentals, and they're not able to get the rents as well.
So what's the solution for those people that is different from, let's say, 2008, 2009? People that is facing now that they can't afford to pay the mortgage and they upside down.
Well, that's a hardship. That is a qualification for a short sale. So we would have to reach out to the bank. They'd have to not be paying or have missed at least 1 or 2 payments with the lender. And they will give them the option to either do a deed in lieu, which is to just give the house back completely, or go ahead and go through the short sale process, which is just selling the house for less than what they owe right now.
How's the bank is looking that now? Because I remember back then, so the bank didn't want the house. The bank didn't want the deed in lieu. That was the worst. the last solution for them. They want to do the short sale, and they give you. I remember that they gave the owners, the homeowners, they gave some benefit like
Relocation money.
relocation.
Money to move out. Primarily because they don't want the seller to damage the house. They want them to go out. They want them to go peacefully. They don't want to damage the property. They want the asset. The short sale trumps the foreclosure any day because the bank doesn't want to have to pay lawyers to evict you, to pay attorney fees in the courts. If they can do a short sale, they're going to save thousands of dollars versus foreclosing on it and then have to have the action of getting you out of the house.
So the bank is willing to do that again?
Yes.
Today?
Yes.
So what's the difference, the main difference now, beside the less work for us?
What do you mean?
So benefit for the homeowner that was different that back then in 2009, 2008.
Well, it's the same. You're going to let the house foreclose. The bank's going to come after you. They're going to garnish your wages. You're going to have a judgment against you plus bad credit. And then you're consistently looking over your shoulder. And when they're going to sue you for that money, you do the short sale, you get cleared of that asset. You can wait 2-3 years and buy again, but you're out of that house. It's out of your name. You are able to sell that asset and clear yourself to purchase later down the line.
Perfect. So you get can you explain how the process works? Because I remember the people get lease pending first. Mm-hmm. So, but in order to get the lease pending, they have to.
So the process is you stop paying. Obviously, they're going to be calling you, calling to ask you when you're going to make your payment. Once you get to the third payment, which is the 90 days, most banks will go out and send a list pendants. They may wait a little longer depending on how the bank is. I think now because there's not so many short sales, they're moving that faster. So you're going to get a notice of pre-foreclosure. Hey, we're willing to talk to you. We want to help you. Call us for your options. They may give you loan modification, which is you can make your payment a little bit less.
They doing that now?
They offer that now. Yeah. They did modifications during COVID that would extend your payment for 40 years as an option too. Reason being, there's still equity there. But we're dealing with a situation where there's not enough equity. You don't have the money in there. Then they'll tell you, okay, if you're not going to pay anymore, what do you want to do? Do you want to keep the house? Do you want to sell the house? What is your option? Because if you don't do either, we're going to have to go ahead and move forward with the foreclosure. They're going to file it in the courts. They're going to notify you. And it's just a time clock that you're waiting that ultimately, if you don't respond or you don't communicate, they're going to set a sale date and they're going to foreclose on the property, take over that title, and you will have to then be leaving the house.
But they give you that option first, loan modification.
Some banks, it just depends on what the lender is.
But have you seen that?
I have. I've seen that in COVID.
Well, in COVID, but not now.
Right.
So they put
everything that's owed back in and give you a 40-year mortgage.
But you have to start paying when?
You have to start paying the moment that they do that.
So that doesn't work for people.
If they don't have a job or they can't pay, that doesn't work for them. So usually loan modification doesn't work for the seller because if they had the money to pay, they would pay.
Yeah.
So typically loan modification does not work. Then once they decide or they put you through the funnel, we try it. If you can't do that, the next step is a short sale. You have to put it on the market. You have to do the activities. You have to get an agent. You have to assess the market and you have to put it on the market to be sold. If you don't do that, then they're just going to foreclose on the property.
Have you heard some like help from the county, from the government now with this economy that they helping this kind of people or
no
assistance
at all?
Because I see that in the rental side. So I have tenants that they getting help from the county.
How long ago was that?
They always. I have people that I don't know how they do, but they get.
So during the 2 years that followed COVID, 21 and 22, they did offer rental assistance for homeowners that had tenants that lost their jobs or weren't able to go into work. Maybe they had commercial spaces that were closed because of COVID. And if they submitted some documentation and they could prove that they had a lease and they could prove that they were making payments before, they would subsidize those rental payments. That stopped like 22, 23.
I have people that some counties offering help to these people to pay 2-3 months.
I haven't seen
even though, in hardship situation. and we get check for the people have 2-3 months late that we put them in an eviction, and they say, hey, I have the letter from these people that they're gonna give me the money, so we wait for them, and they come with a 3-4 months payment.
I even
We've
visited
seen some
in
counties.
Seminole County. They did that for her. They gave her like 3 payments to catch up, but I haven't seen it of recent.
Yeah. So when you see that people should look for help to do a short sale, at what point?
I would say that the moment that you realize that you're not going to be able to catch up your payments, if you miss 1, fine. You miss 2, fine. Once you get to that 90 days and the bank is actually threatening or suggesting a lis pendens, you need to reach out to someone and figure out what your alternatives are.
So if I already know that I lost my job, I'm probably upside down. I overpay for my house, and I'm upside down right now, and I know that I cannot make the payment. I already missed one, and I'm not gonna be able to pay next month and the other month, and I'm still looking for a job, but it's been hard. So how long I have? How much time I have to work the short sale with the bank? So if I pretend to you and I call you, okay, I want you to help me with that. So how much time do you need?
So basically, the foreclosure process, which is the lis pendens that starts that will not stop until you actually have an offer on your house. So you get into communication with the bank, you let them know that your intentions are to do a short sale, but you do have to have an offer that is at least acceptable to the bank for them to pause that process. The offer is what actually pauses the process.
Do you know how much are the banks willing to accept right now?
On average, it's 82% of what you owe them.
82%.
Yes.
Okay.
Is typically what they're willing to accept.
So if I miss the last, let's say 90 days, I received the lease pending. So now we start the foreclosure.
Yes.
How long it take the foreclosure? How long I have to get an offer?
So in your communications with the bank, that is a question that you'd want to ask them because every bank is different. Some banks expedite the process. Some banks take forever. You can intercept an attorney to buy you more time if you need to, if you don't have an offer. But generally, if you're communicating with them and letting them know your intentions, they will give you an idea of how much time you have.
Does it work for people that start new construction and they having hard time? Let's say they start the new construction.
And it's not worth what they're paying.
They almost finishing or whatever and the stage they are, and they owe the construction loan, but they can't pay now. Something happened. Is that work?
That's not really
with the harmony?
That's not a short sale because you don't own the asset yet. They still own the asset. You haven't taken title. You haven't taken possession of the property. You just have the loan.
I have it's my property because I have the deed of it's my loan. It's my lot.
But is it completed?
It's not complete. I have a lien, but I own the property. But I have a lien with a lender.
Okay.
I owe the lender. Let's say the loan was for $200,000. I owe them $150,000. Can I negotiate with them if I can't pay?
I would say yes, simply because for them to come after you or try to sue you or try to do any action, it's going to cost them more money. So I think anytime you can get ahead of any type of judgment or foreclosure, yes, then you can negotiate or at least attempt to.
So that's a good thing because there are a lot of people that start 2-3 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. So on market change in that period of time,
right?
The strategy was to sell the house, build and sell.
And now they can't.
And now they can sell, but they owe the harmony lender. They going through a hardship situation where their credit went down. Now they cannot refine neither
to qualify.
So they need to do something.
Yes, I would say in that case, it's open for a conversation. Any lender, bank or private, would want to negotiate versus have to take legal action because there's cost involved in that. So if you can at any point negotiate and lower that, I would say that yes, it's definitely worth having that conversation because they don't want the house. They never wanted it in the first place. They were financing it for you.
Yeah, that's happening with a lot of people right now that they can refi the houses and they stuck. They can rent the property because they upside down, and that could be a good alternative for them in order to don't affect probably, I don't know, the history, and they can buy again or they can loan again if, like you say,
2
3,
to
4
5
years,
years. Yeah.
3, 5 years. So it's not like bankruptcy.
Right.
It's just
And there are some lenders, banks have different programs all the time. There are some lenders that even say a 1 year after bankruptcy, we can help you buy. Now, you may have to put more money down or your interest rate may be higher, but you may not even have to wait that long to purchase again.
what kind of document do the owner have to show you in order to start working with the bank?
The very first thing they're going to need is an authorization. They would have to provide me with an authorization to speak on their behalf to the bank, because they're not going to know what to say. I'm going to know what to say. From there, the bank is going to ask some verifying things about them. They want to see their last 3 months of bank statements. They want to make sure that you really do have a hardship, that you really aren't able to pay. So you don't have $100,000 sitting in the bank and you're just not paying your mortgage. They need to see tax returns if you have them. They need to see a letter that you explain why is the reason that you stopped paying. What happened in your life? What hardship occurred that you were paying before and you can't pay now, and that you don't foresee that you'll be able to pay in the future?
So you're going to represent them through the bank?
Correct.
With authorization?
Yes.
And you're going to negotiate that with the bank?
Yes.
So, but you need an offer too. You need to find an offer.
So once that's done, as you would have a realtor, obviously I'm a realtor too, so you understand what the market is, what the house is saying the market's going to sell for. Taking into consideration, have they kept up with the house? Does the house need repairs? Is it in disrepair compared to the other houses around? So you have to be able to explain to the bank, yes, I know you want $400,000 because that's what it's selling for, but they have $60,000 worth of damages in this house. The bank may be in California and doesn't understand the Orlando market.
Yeah.
So you have to put together a story that explains, yes, I understand you want this, but this is the condition of this house. This is what is going on here. And then ultimately they're going to send somebody out to appraise the property as well.
Do they need to get approved for short sale before, or they can go to the market and offer for short sale before get the bank approval?
They can go to the market for short sale and they can say that it isn't approved yet. Once the bank approves it, then you just change the status in the MLS that shows that that price is approved. Because the bank may say, your price was too low, we need you to raise it. Your price was too high.
So, but you can list without bank approval.
You can.
At the price that you set.
You can.
But you have to disclosure in the realtor remark that that price is not approved.
Correct.
And you can start receiving offers with that condition.
You can. Then at which point the bank is going to tell you, this is the price we need. It's good sometimes to go ahead and be proactive and list, because you can say, hey, we already tried. Look at our history. We already tried to get the maximum from the market. We were never able to get any offers. We need to reduce it at this point. Here's the proof in the listing history that we tried for the top and we can't get the price.
So can you accept the offer from that buyer? Let's say you list the property at $300,000 and the one buyer come with an offer for $250,000. Can you accept that offer?
You can accept that offer with a separate addendum that says, this, I am the seller accepting the offer, but this offer is contingent upon a third party, which is the bank, agreeing to it.
Perfect. But you're going to accept.
You can accept it and submit it, which I would encourage.
If that's the highest.
If that's offer. The highest you have, you submit it to the bank. And you just disclose to the buyer, I'm saying, okay, I'm okay with this price, but the bank has to be okay with the price as well.
So when you list the property and you know that people is going to see that it's a short sale, you should be receiving more than one offer.
Typically, yes.
So let's say you've received 10 offers or whatever. You legally, you can accept whichever you want, the best, how you do usually, or
you treat it just as a regular sale. Hey, I've got 10 offers. Everybody give me the highest and best. I'm going to submit the highest. You would do it just like a regular
sale. Submit the highest.
Yes.
Even though that you see that other people is cash, other people is is looking for financing is
Well, again, as an agent, you have to assess the situation. If you know that you're accepting a finance offer on a house that needs $40,000 in repairs, that's probably not the wisest thing. It may be wiser to accept cash, but you need to communicate with all the offers. Like, listen, I have a high offer, but it's financing, and you know that financing may be a challenge. You may want to take a cash offer. The seller still has the choice to accept any offer that they want.
but the seller is who decide which offer he's gonna accept.
Correct.
Or you are a
That-
negotiator or a listing agent, you're gonna pick one of them. Or you're just gonna give advice to the
It depends on what the seller has authorized you to do. If the seller says, I trust you, do what's best, or I want to have some input, typically the seller just carry the way. They're not getting anything. It's a short sale for them. They just want to wipe their slate clean. So you, as the agent that's representing the seller, you can go ahead and submit the offer that you feel is best or that the bank would be willing to accept.
Is there a specific listing agreement for that one?
There's not a specific listing agreement, but there's specific addendums that go with it.
What they said, I don't know.
The addendum is a short sale addendum, which is a Rider G, and it says that this offer is contingent upon the bank accepting it, and it has a time frame that you will have to allow the bank to respond. So let's say within 45 days of acceptance, you can close. The bank will tell you how many days that they need to close once the offer is accepted.
Got it. But that agreement or that addendum doesn't say that the seller is giving you the right to take a decision to pick any offer.
No.
No, that's a conversation between you and the seller.
Correct.
But is that disclosure in some addendum or what?
No, I'm sure you could create it if you felt the need, but you can create that if you pick.
Because in that case, you're working like a transaction.
Most agents are transaction broker.
Yeah. In short sale, you do that too.
You can do that as well. Yes.
So for all the realtors that are listening to that, so you can do that, but you have to learn how to negotiate with the bank.
Yes.
Or you can list the property and you can find people like Nicole to negotiate for you, right?
Yeah.
That's the way that you do. But what I saw before when I worked with you back then was that there was a lot of agents that didn't complete it and didn't help their seller because they didn't know how to negotiate with the bank. And they lost a lot of time. It was time consuming.
Not to mention the most catastrophic thing would be you don't know what you're doing. You don't know the process. And then the seller's property gets foreclosed because you don't know what you're doing. So you're doing a disservice to the seller to even go down that path if you really can't help them. You put them in a situation where they can still lose their house. They reached out to you to keep them from losing their house, and then ultimately, because you don't know what you're doing, they lose their house.
In your experience, do you see some suit against any agent that their seller went to foreclosure?
I haven't, but if there were a suit, it would be against the broker. It wouldn't be against the seller.
You saw that.
I have seen that.
Yeah. So it's better for you if you don't have the experience. Just share the commission and give it that to the negotiator that know how to do it, and you can help your client. So you're still gonna collect some commission, but the most important is help the people who is in need of the right transaction. So for all that people that is gonna see this podcast and need help, so how they contact you?
They call you
True, man.
first.
Yeah, we're gonna start working that because I think that there's people in need, people that need help, and people that we can work together. So I think there are many, not only short sale, there are other strategies that people don't know that they can work it out, and they don't have to go through short sale. If the short sale is the best option, so we're gonna tell you, Nicole is gonna tell you what to do. But probably there is another one that you can also apply. So for everything is a solution. The thing is that you have to go to the right people and don't waste time. So if you are in a situation right now that you can make payments. You lose your job. You're upside down in your mortgage or whatever. So contact the people like Nicole said ahead of time before you get the lease pending.
And ultimately, you're an asset to that person, right? If you solve someone's problem, you become their hero.
Yeah.
So if you feel like, oh, well, I'm doing this and I have to pay and I don't get the full, listen, these people are going to trust you with their family. They're going to tell everybody about you. Hey, they saved me from this. It brings trust in the business. You become experienced in the business. You don't have to do everything. You just have to know how to put people in place to solve their problems.
So, and you were mentioned before out of the pocket, so that the bank before they give you, it was called money for keys?
No,
now-
cash for keys happens
Cash for-
after foreclosure.
Okay.
You don't
Can
want
you
that.
explain that?
Okay, so relocation money
Relocation.
is when you're in a short sale, you're in the house, the bank wants to make sure that you can go when this deal is done, and they will give you relocation money at closing.
Okay. No, now.
Not now.
Okay.
They give it to you at closing. So ideally, you have to make your arrangements or whatever, and you get a check from the title company. Cash for keys, they've already foreclosed and they're giving you money to get out, but that's a whole different sort of legal ramification that you're in. You don't want to.
You don't want to be there. Okay.
No.
All right. All right. I think it was worth it the time so that you learn or you can know where you can go if you have a problem like that. But that's what we want to help people and teach people how to do the right thing and how to handle real estate problems or real estate opportunities. So, excelente having you today. Thank you. I always learn, and I will always keep learning from people that know what I don't know, and that's the main thing, that you learn, you work with people that know more than you. So, nos vemos la próxima. De verdad que estuvo muy bueno. Ojalá que lo puedan ver una y otra vez y ahí puedan ayudar a toda la gente que está en necesidad o que está pasando por esta situación. Nos vemos en la próxima.